Hello, Commander Juke here. Welcome to episode 3 of PSI Interview. Today, Galleon interviews fellow PSI Hope commentator Papa Jin. And just as no lamp can contain him, all of his awesomeness could not be contained in a mere hour. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Obviously, there ain't no intro that I have written down in any way, shape, or form. Freeform as best as possible, but I do got some canned questions for you. But for those of you who do not know, we're recording, right?
Yeah. I always start right away just because sometimes I don't realize we're.
Okay.
It's just better to start right away.
I felt gold coming on, and then I was realizing that hey, this gold that's about to come out might not be recorded, bro. You might
I start recording right away for that exact reason, and just cut most of it out. Yeah. Carry on.
So for those of you who may not know, Sci-Hope offers a lot of positions that we get filled to do these events. And one of those that I happen to be a part of is the commentary team. And today we are seated with the man, the myth, the legend, the genie himself, Papa Jin. Tell the people, say hello, all that good stuff. It's good to talk to you, man.
It's good to talk to you guys too. It's always nice to be a part of I Hope and just honestly the stream community in general. Anyone who's not a streamer, may think it's something like easy and relaxed, but it comes with its own stresses and stuff like that. But better yet, it comes with you never meet. I've met people from Egypt, from Ireland, from so many different places that are my friends now. Yay, and I'm like, yay, so
Absolutely.
I always like having that type of energy. But out here, the Jinn, not the genie. We can go into that later.
Okay, yeah. You see, this is why I love misstepping, because then I get educated. That's how you learn.
And I'm not mad. I never get mad over it. I mean,
no.
Honestly, it's one of those things where it's easy to end up getting confused when there isn't an individual history for anything. I mean, think about it like this. We have the Amazon rainforest, but the Amazons from Greek lore don't come from the Amazon rainforest.
Right.
But if you didn't know that, you just assume that the Amazon forest is either in Greece or
so
that
that's
the Greeks
where Wonder
somehow
Woman
learned
came
about
from,
that.
right? The Amazon rainforest? No,
I don't
that's
know.
on the opposite side. She actually comes from Thebes.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know if she did originally, but I know she eventually ends up becoming from Themyscira, I think they call it.
Yeah, Themyscira. That's correct.
Fake
and I do know that in my mind's eye. So to retract, we are here with the resident Papa Jin, the Jin. Welcome in, man. Glad to talk to you.
Definitely. And I mean, realistically, like I said, it's something we can always talk about more during this conversation.
Oh, for sure. We're gonna hit that, don't you worry. But first off, and just so we can kind of set the tone of what this interview is gonna be all about, what's your full government name?
Papa Jin. and it's funny because realistically,
I was kidding, by the way. I was kidding.
Oh no, I know you were, but here's the thing, since you brought it up. I don't belong to a government. So because I don't belong to a government, my name is the name I choose to have government wise. I mean, if you were to look me up, it would be Papa. So government name is Papa Jin. You asked the right question, I gave you the right answer. It may not feel like it, but
for sure. So that does answer the second part of that question, which is, what name would you want the world to know you as? And I've been calling you Papa since the day I met you, and that is your name as far as I'm concerned.
Papa. Realistically, Jin is just what I go by. Papa is what I go. Whatever really floats your boat, in my opinion. I have a true name, but that's classified, unfortunately.
Man,
Like,
that's some Feywild stuff. We don't need true names around here. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I'm Galleon.
nah.
I will always be Galleon. However, I do have a true name as well, and I think it was dropped in my conversation with Mirage, which is not a problem. I don't care if you guys know my first name. It's
I
just the
was gonna
last name
ask
I
you
have
about
to
that
worry
actually.
about. No, I'm good. I don't
Yeah.
care. I'm not running from nobody at the moment, so it's no biggie.
Yeah.
But
Having someone's true name is dangerous, so,
absolutely, as a as a DM and also as a player, all of my characters come with a little tiny tidbit of knowledge about the Feywild. Never give your true name
Mhm.
unless you are absolutely certain that this person is not in fact a Fey. That's where my hesitance comes from. See, I play a lot of D&D for those of you who don't know. Jin, I know you know now, but yeah, I play a lot of D&D, and all my characters have that same trait. They never give the true name.
Yeah. Basic entry level info. If you didn't know, now you know.
Yeah,
Like, you don't do
absolutely.
that. I mean,
So,
it can be carried over into mortal grounds too. I mean,
oh,
I've
absolutely.
learned since I got here about doxing, which is like,
Oh,
but
isn't that just a special thing?
yeah.
People don't dox us, please. I have no money, I promise. Uh, so, I guess a good jumping off question here. Um, what made you to decide to start streaming? Like everyone has their event that put them into the internet space. So I know you're a pretty big avid streamer, and we did hear a little bit from Sekatai, like some of the uh, Apex on Sekatai's side. What was it
Mhm.
that got you into it?
Harder answer, unfortunately.
For sure,
It
that's
is
good.
that
This is what I live for.
the first half of this answer is going to be, oh, hey, time when we were living together, we're interested in kind of, you know, putting our knowledge out there, putting about anime, about the culture and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we really sit down and just record ourselves talking, much like we're doing now, and just just talk,
Yeah.
just really gave our honest, unadulterated, just talking, just trying to see how it would sound, how it would feel, how would those conversations would be.
Right.
Fast track a couple years into the future, and another friend of ours, Cynic, was like, "Hey, I want to do this panel on, on Twitch." And so I was like, "All right, I'm at this time. I have some time available, so let's try." And so we did. And as I got more comfortable with that, I was like, "Okay, well, I have the equipment now, and I talked about it before. No time like the present, right?" So I started to do it myself on my own. You know, that's really the two part there. Is like I already kind of had an interest in getting myself out there informational but entertainment way, just really get myself out there years ago. But then
Right.
once I had the chance to do it and was like, "Hey, you want to do it?" I was like, "Yeah." I took that opportunity and that blossomed into something more.
Awesome. And from what I've been seeing, it has been a static increase of just good vibes all around. Like you joining the first I hope and me hearing your voice for the first time. Like I don't know about anybody else, but I was energized. I was ready. Like I was ready to spend as long as you could possibly give us to just talking with you because like your voice timbre is interesting enough to like hold my attention, and that like I was like I'm happy Papa Jin's here because dang.
Well, see, the way my voice sounds to me has always been kind of on the weird side because everyone's like, "Oh, you have a deep voice. You have a deep voice." And I mean, I guess, but like when I hear myself, even when I feel like I've listened to a recording,
Right.
to me, I sound, I guess, or not medium high, but medium deep, like medium, like low. And so, like, because when I hear other people who I think of, that's a low voice. I feel like it's low, like deeper than mine. So I always thought that was funny. But as far
Yeah.
as like the energy that I bring in my voice, that just comes from a lifetime of wanting to support other people. Like I know it sounds corny to an extent, but I
Oh no, I
am the
totally get it.
eldest. Yeah, I'm the eldest in my family, so all I've ever known is taking care of other people. And then on top of that, after walking a way into adulthood, even
Hmm.
since day one, that's all I've ever wanted to do was take care of people, make people better, lift them up. I do genuinely think we can all make it. Since I don't want to say day one, I don't want to say that would be a lie, but
Right.
early on in my streamer career, Gen Fam supports Gen Fam was something that I started naturally. I just decided to start saying that one day, and it carried on. And other streamers, including Sekitai, started picking it up. Set Crew supports Set Crew and stuff like that. Now there's Soul Crew now, but when it first started being picked up, it was Set Crew, and Set Crew supports Set Crew, and Gen Fam supports Gen. You know what I'm saying? So that's just always who I've been.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. See, I kind of have that same nurturing side to myself as well, and it was definitely developed over uh not to go too in depth, but a lifetime of disappointment, and getting to where I am now, to where um if I count you as friend, if I say the word friend, you can be assured that I'm gonna be there for you to the day you die. Even if you hurt me to the point where like I can't be friends with you anymore, if you show up on my doorstep bloodied, I'm gonna let you in. I'm gonna dress your wounds. I'm gonna give you some food and drink, and then I'm gonna tell you to get the fuck out.
Fair
But
enough.
I'm still gonna be there to ensure that you at least make it through this hard time that you're in if you happen to come at me, you know?
Yeah, no, I get it.
And that's just how I've
Yeah.
always been. Um, and I'm very glad that the world has not broken you or me for that matter and put us in a position where we can't do that anymore.
Yeah. I will say this,
Hmm.
and this is not to be dismissive of anyone. So
No, for
I
sure.
want to be clear before I say what I'm going to say. A lot of the things that we do are a choice. And
Absolutely.
I that very distinctly because when I was younger, I dealt with bullying before, and I know that sounds abstract because obviously you weren't there, and no one else would have been there to know what that type of bullying was like. But it's not
Right.
important much or what the bullying was. I did experience that negativity, but it was the choices I made that made me not become a bully in negative two, and made it so that I could go on and be a better person. You know,
Right.
we make those decisions, and if you choose to be a victim, and not like saying sorry, I know, but not like that.
No, for sure.
If you choose to internalize that negativity and then like regurgitate it at other people, and okay, because I was hurt, that's what I mean.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You choose to be a victim. That's what
Absolutely.
it is, and you can choose not to be. You can choose to be the positivity that you want to see.
Absolutely. And it really boils down to, it's funny that you say that because uh you can ask Jupe, like majority of our conversations do come down to, like, I think I've mentioned it every time so far, nature versus nurture, and the idea of nobody is inherently like evil. It is all a choice based on the stimulus, which would be the nurturing aspect of it, like how you nurture your outward expression is going to go along a lot farther than the nature of a person. Just like, oh, he's always been a jerk, he's always going to be a jerk. That would be the nature of it. But it is, you're right, it is all based in choice, and we all have the power to be good or bad.
Yeah, I agree with
So
that one.
yeah, no, and being like, I'm a product of bullying myself, and there was a time where it was very, very, very close uh, to where I would have been the worst person in history. I could have gone the other way a very long time ago. I never did, but I could have. You know, and the only thing that I felt stopped me was I always had like a little glimmer of hope that people are not horrible in every aspect of my life. Like at like pivotal times, there was somebody who showed up just enough to give me hope for the future and kept me humble and kept me on a relatively good path. Like I had my dark days, but that doesn't change that I was genuinely a good person for a good amount of time. There was a few years there that I don't really want to talk about, but and that's only because the stuff I've healed from. I've been to therapy. I'm healed. I'm good.
Yeah,
No
I
need to be a jerk
understand.
anymore. Well, cool. Yeah, no, that was a great answer, man. Thank you.
No doubt. No doubt.
So as we all know, charity is just plain good for the soul, and there's a lot of obvious reasons to spend some time with our old pal altruism. But I'm gonna be real with you, man. I'm not interested in the surface stuff. I want to know why doing these charity events is so damn important to you.
So realistically, it's I don't like to use the word important
Okay.
because I feel like the word important implies that it adds like a self image to it almost to me.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
it's about me, like I'm doing something so much better by doing it.
Okay.
I more just enjoy helping people. Simple.
Gotcha.
It doesn't have to be a big deal. Glad that it does help people, and I'm glad that they may feel like it's a big deal if they have something, but I don't even need to be associated with that. Once the money gets to where it needs to go, them being happy that something happened to them is more important than how important it is to me, or why is it so serious to do it. It's not there.
Right.
I just enjoy helping people. That's it. That's the end of it. Like, we don't have to go further than that.
No, I love that. Honestly, like, it actually. See, I have another question later on. That I like to ask as kind of like the 1-2 punch for this one. That we usually take a break and hit something a little more silly and fun. I don't even have to ask that question because it's answered beautifully in I do it because I know that I'm making somebody's life better.
Yeah.
That's it. And I mean, you know what? I'll ask just because you might want to expand a little bit more based on the question.
Okay,
What do you
go
get
ahead.
out of it? Is it truly as selfless as you are saying it right now? And I'm not saying that you're not capable of that selflessness. We all are. But at the end of the day, when you put your headphones down after a charity stream, is that really all it is? Or is there something that you take away every time?
So I don't think it's as simple as it's all just me being altruistic. I don't think that's a fair argument, and I think it would be immature to pretend like it is.
Okay.
That's not a realistic way of looking at it.
Okay.
I do think that doing the charity itself is just because I like helping people. However,
Gotcha.
what I out of it, there is, and I know this is gonna sound a little weird, um, but I have a deep, like, personal need to be needed. I
Yeah.
enjoy really like a lot to the extent that I've been known to put off my own work and growth to help other people because it makes me feel good. I
Right.
don't gain anything from them directly. I don't expect the investment specifically. But
Right.
knowing that a week or two from now, or a month from now, or a year from now, they could turn around and be like, dude, that thing you did, you don't even know, that actually helped me get here. That
Yeah.
means more to me than if they paid me back, or if they, helped me out or anything like that. And I also don't regret helping people even though they messed up, because
Right.
realistically, not about me. It never was. Helping people is not
Right.
about you as an individual. So either you help people because that's what you want to do, or you're helping people for yourself. And
Right.
that's it's hard to quantify words. It's something you just gotta feel realistically. And I know that sounds kind of like a cop out, but there is a difference. Okay. And to
Yeah.
use an example, if a person donates to charity, okay, a charity, it doesn't matter what charity,
Right.
but they get their money by killing people.
Right.
Like, really? Like you're doing that to kind of balance out your soul, in your opinion. You're not doing this because it's the right thing. You're doing it because of like either mental or emotional or social, like
Right. No, for sure. Like
and so
I don't
yeah.
care how much money you raise for charity. If you're murdering somebody, um, yeah, you're still a bad person. I'll take your money, and that's only
Well, yeah.
because where the money is going to go, I know it's going to go to people who don't murder, um, and you shouldn't have
Better
it.
them than you, yeah.
But at the same time, like, um, one of the things that I've always found like interesting about like some charities, and please understand everybody that's listening right now, I am not saying this lightly. I understand uh, that there are some that don't want to be associated with certain things, and you shouldn't take money from people that are doing stuff because they could put you in positions. All I'm saying is the concept of looking a gift horse in the mouth. I'd rather you not tell me so that I can use this money to actually save lives and find out later and then decide that I'm never going to work with that person again versus knowing where that money's coming from. Like,
Yeah, no, I get it.
I don't want to know where it's coming from. Don't tell me. You want to do something nice? I'm just organizing the space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know that this money is going to go to a place, especially if I'm running it, it's going to go to a place that I know for sure is going to be helping and is putting good back into the world. But if you tell me where it's coming from, I'm probably going to decide that I'm not going to take your money, and I might kill you myself.
You ain't gotta do all that. No, I'm kidding.
No,
But
it's just no, and honestly, I would never. But
yeah.
it is an interesting like thought experiment. Like, would you take money that like came from a like a safe? You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
like it came from a bank, or it's one of those thought experiments that keeps me up at night.
I understand. To
Well,
bring it back to the original
yeah,
question, though, I just wanted to say realistically,
for sure.
use an example of what I mean, though. When I recognize, because we had a meeting about it, and when I got to see an email come back and they said, "Hey, Sci Hope, you guys have done good work." We hadn't even worked with these people yet, but they had already heard about the good work we did. That beyond else, whether I got followers from it or clout from it or anything else, the seeing that got me hyped. That
No,
got
for
me
sure.
excited. That got me energetic.
I damn near cried.
Exactly. It was the
Same.
idea that, and if you want to jump in, you can. I'm just saying, like, realistically, that had me energized. That gave me positivity. I didn't need anything more than that. I don't need anybody specific, like, oh, yeah, well, he was a part of that. Like, that's not even the big deal of you knowing my name. I was just
Right.
enjoying the fact that I was a part of something that was so positive that, like, it's reverberating in the space,
Right. Right. And the notoriety is coming just by being attached to it. It's not even, you're right. It is not about the clout or the amount of people that decided to follow me afterward. It is 100% that these people that are just getting into this space have looked at us as a force of good that they would be willing to back in order to achieve the goal that they have in their minds in order to help either disenfranchised kids or people with disabilities. Like, they looked to us as a good option to do that PR that's necessary.
Yeah,
Like, that is
I
just
agree.
insane to me.
yeah, when Mike like emailed us to say, "Hey, you guys want to do something for Superhero Day?" Like I
Yeah.
was
Like,
floored.
yes, we do.
Like I was like, "Oh my god, this is so exciting!" This is
Yeah,
amazing.
absolutely.
And knowing that they can come and, quote unquote, knock on the door, and one of us would be there to answer, and then we will show out like we have been. Like, I wouldn't trade that for the world. It is probably
Exactly.
the coolest thing ever. Well, awesome. Damn. Some good shit right there. So have you done charity in the past? Like, was joining Sci Hope your way of getting into charity, or was there something else about our team that caught your eye? And don't mince words here. If you came here just for me, no one's gonna be upset.
Well, listen, that wouldn't be fair. I don't choose favorites now. That's not nice.
Spoken like a true
No,
parent. Uh
right? What's the
huh.
first part of my name, huh? uh,
I know I'm your favorite. It's
actually,
okay.
right? But actually, ironically, no, this is not technically my first time volunteering. In
Okay.
this way, absolutely. Like in the
Okay.
way we're doing it specifically with the streaming and with this particular type of, absolutely, this is the first time of this type.
Right.
But as far as charity as a concept, no. I remember being in programs in school where we worked on a farm. I don't want to get too specific just because
For
again,
sure. For sure.
I don't want to give too much personal away,
You got
but
some.
like
You got
that's an
some internet
example.
sleuths. It's all good.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't want to get too specific.
It was in your
Worked
demi
on a
space.
farm. Exactly. And I when I was in middle school, for instance, and the uh, student council,
Yeah.
although I was not a seated member because I wasn't trying to necessarily run for anything, I was an organizer. And I know like this isn't real in the sense that it's not an actual governing body, but as an organizer, one of the things I ended up doing is that I had created an additional dance to our school that didn't exist.
Okay.
Just as an organizer, I wasn't like a vice president or treasurer, none of that, and been doing that after I left. And again, I didn't get paid for it. I didn't get better grades for it. It was when I say charity, it was that I was trying to make other people happy.
Yeah, it's just a
Um,
donator of your time. Absolutely.
exactly. So there have been the course of my life, couple of different things that I've done that I would consider charity. But again, in the space that we're doing it, in the way that we're doing it, yes, this will be the first time.
Awesome. Awesome. And what about the Sci Hope team was what made you just say okay, or was it the first offer that came and you never looked back?
No to the second part.
Okay.
100% no to the second part. The first part is going to be answered now that I've answered the second part.
For sure.
And then I just needed to emphasize, no, it's not about the offer.
No,
What it
for
was
sure.
about, 100% what it was about was trust. The
I
reason
love
I'm
it.
being specific about here when I say trust is because of the fact that there are plenty of people out there who do charities. There are plenty of people out there who are willing to collab with people. None of that's
Right.
hard to find as a concept. I'm sure that if I wanted to just go to the first step, I could have. But
Right.
there is a difference between that and trusting the people that you're going to work alongside. Um, when it comes to you guys, when it comes to Sec, when it uh our Lord and Savior in this case, Nickatron, when it comes to all you people, I trust you. I do
Right.
not ever have to feel like it's going to be a problem if I'm not able certain times and I don't mean like I just skip out. I mean like okay, I
Right.
want to help, I want to be a part of this particular thing, but life's getting in the way. I never have to feel like there's going to be bad blood. I don't ever have to feel like you guys are going to think that, you know, I'm flaky or anything like that.
Right.
Everything I there's always trust between us. I've never had a situation where I didn't trust each other. We don't have each other's back, and we won't pick up where the other person left off, like it just
Right.
like we were doing it all along. So I feel like that's really what it was. I could trust everybody involved.
I get you. I understand. Yeah. And I genuinely feel the same way. There was a minor bit of hesitance that I had when we first started like Sci Hope 1, and that was mostly just like nerves and everything, but like I had already known everybody that was a part of it except for, a few names, yourself included. Um but I knew because I have been a part of a team before. It wasn't a charity team, but it was kind of like a we stand together, we are together, that kind of thing. And I'll be honest, there was a like there's no bad blood now, but at least at the time there was. There was practices in this team centric environment that I just could not stomach. And I ended up leaving, and it turned out to be a very bad financial decision, but an incredible mental health situation. Um, I fell back in love with streaming, just to keep it simple. But there was a moment where I genuinely thought about quitting, because
Yeah.
of where I was at and the environment that I was in, and how it was being set up and ran, bothered me. But there was a scar there, is what I'm getting to. There was a scar there that was left behind, left a bad taste in my mouth. So joining Sci-Hope, or being a part of Sci-Hope's like beginnings, I had said I would never be a part of a team again. And I was just going to be out for me and whatever. And I turned out to be very, very wrong.
Never say
And
never, right?
I mean, sometimes you gotta, and I did. I can admit when I'm wrong. Egg on my face. This has been one of the most fulfilling things that I've done. Even if we only do, a few events here and there, like the door being open to throw my name in the hat every now and then, and recognition for stuff that I think is, kind of boring and stupid, that turns out to be an asset that has been bashed into me the last few days, or the last few interviews. Like, that shit's real to me, and it made things taste all the sweeter. So yeah, like it changed my ideas on what a team could be, and I genuinely think that this is probably one of the best ones that I've ever decided to be a part of. So, the big question right here. It's my favorite one to ask, and I know it's the one that everybody wants to know. Are you single? And can we change that for you?
So the first answer is no,
That's a
but
shame.
that,
So
I was about
serious
to
time.
say that second part,
Serious.
no, absolutely not.
Serious time. Being a commentator with Sci-Hope is pretty special. As you can clearly see, we are crushing it everywhere we go. And answer however you like, man. Being a commentator of Sci-Hope, what was it that put you in the space to want to do that specifically? Because I know you can run with the best of them, and I mean, there's other places you could be. Why did commentary stick out for you?
Realistically, for me, and this might sound like I'm tooting my own horn a little bit, but I've always been considered a good talker. Like that's just
I
always what I've
could
been.
not agree more.
Oh, because I've always been told I'm a good talker, and oh man, you should be an announcer or a narrator or this or that. I mean, it's kind of, let me put it a different way.
Mhm.
When I do this, when I talk to people, when I'm interviewing people, when I am doing commentary, and I feel like that's something anybody could relate to. If I put it that way, I feel like anybody could relate to it. It's not a job when I, you know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So that's why. I mean, that's the simplest way of putting it. Like, yes, there's work in me paying attention. Yes, I have to have energy and positivity and passion for what I'm doing, but I want to.
Yeah. No, for sure. Absolutely. And I feel genuinely the same way. Like, I feel like I can talk about this specifically to you more than anybody else based on your role with us. For those of you guys who do not know, Papa Jin is a commentator that is peak. You guys can definitely watch his contributions to everything in all of our Sci Hopes because he is just absolutely phenomenal.
I
I
appreciate
have
it
been told
100%.
forever that I've got the gift of gab as well. Like I've been told to shut up more times than I can possibly count because of just the command of language that I have. And I don't think of it as a big skill until somebody needs it.
True enough.
And out of nowhere, like being on Sci Hope, they won't let me say I'm bad at it.
Well, you're not, so we don't even have to go
See what I
there.
mean? Like I'm not even fishing here. I'm genuinely saying that like I do not have the option to be deprecating, even if I believe that due to imposter syndrome that I'm not as great as I could be. But I'm not allowed to say that. And that's totally fine. Like it's one of my it makes me so fucking happy, like irrationally happy. Because here I am, some idiot that, grew up being told that I talk too much and having that skill not only like wanted but coveted. Excuse me? Like,
Yeah, 100%. I when I say I totally understand, I totally understand.
yeah, and I feel like I can't talk to anybody about that because like you don't really grasp just how important that actually is unless you're in the space where you've been told you're not like that's not a marketable thing.
Not
Like
just not marketable. Hold on, let me just cut in right there.
no, please.
Not just not marketable, but annoying. I need to be
Yeah.
clear about that. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
because not everybody can keep. I don't expect everybody to be me or you or anybody else who likes to talk. That's
No, for
just
sure.
not a personality trait for everybody, and that's fair. You don't have to be that person, and I would never expect someone to be me.
Yeah.
However, ever being in the situation where it's like I like you and I want to talk to you until you run away,
Mm-hmm.
and then they do, and you're like, oh man,
Oh, that's not what I'm supposed to do. And then it
exactly.
trains you to not. Yeah, no, I completely get it. And the most infuriating thing about that is like it leaves scars. It leaves scars. And what I want to ask you is, have you ever done any spots for speaking like on your off time? Because I was on a online radio show. Like I was a online DJ for a while.
I'm super jealous of that, but
You shouldn't be. It was great for what it was. Um,
mhm.
it was me wasting time when I should have been doing homework.
I got you. I got you.
And I had a little what was it? I had a handle on there that was misspelled, so I had to say it a certain way. One of the biggest problems I had because it wasn't me. But what was amazing about it was I literally just sat there and talked for like 3 minutes in between songs. And that's the only experience I've ever had with like any kind of um like announcement or disc jockey type stuff, right?
Yeah.
But other than
So
that, like I haven't done anything else like this in like any kind of official capacity. Have you?
so um yes. However, I think it's less important to put the professional aspect on it
Sure.
than the fact that I was doing it. Because basically ever since like I am now with the talking. I mean,
Hmm.
um one of my most precious memories, and this might sound like it's a little off topic, but it's gonna wrap back around. So one
Sure.
of my most precious memories was me and my little brother in one of backyard, and we're larping like, and for people who may not
Yes.
know,
Yes.
Love it.
live action role playing, and
Hard same.
yeah.
God.
So
Okay.
now, granted, we were children, so we didn't have all the rules and all of it, but it was based off of Wizards of the Coast information, so it was LARPing. It just was junior LARPing.
Yeah. No,
But
I was doing it well into my teens, bro. You're among friends.
yeah, well, I mean, I only specified the junior part because I mean, if anybody was like, "Hey, what a LARP?" You said you did it before. I'm like, yeah, but like also. It's been a minute and I was a kid, so you're gonna have to read the whole thing. But
No, for
um
sure.
but, but the fact of the matter is that, when we were there, it was as far as for kids, we felt like we were in like a movie or something, man. We were
Oh, for sure.
real genuine tears of oh man this and oh man that. Like we were, dude, I'm telling you, we were like energized and we were in the moment. And that's not the only time we like did Harry Potter ones and stuff. Like we've done so
Right.
many different little like oh man, it was crazy. And so that's where it started, was announcing what I'm doing as I'm doing it and getting in the zone and really just being that person. And then
Right.
that moved on to me doing online text stuff, which didn't have me doing voice yet.
Bro,
It
same.
got me, yeah. So I did
Same.
text based. And then after moving from text based in high school, I decided I was gonna just be in a play. And I don't mean that in the sense that I decided, oh, I'm in drama, it's about that time. I mean, no, they said, hey, we're doing open auditions. And I was like, okay. And I just got into a play.
No, for sure.
And like I did it and I get up on stage and I started, performing for people.
Yeah.
And, this is just who I've always been from day one. It's just always been trying to and part of it comes from my, willingness to understand other people.
Right.
Like I've always where, I was little Jen, okay? I
Mhm.
was pretty independent. So what I would end up doing is, I didn't necessarily need to be picked up or any of that stuff.
Right.
Instead, what would happen is that I would sit there and I would talk to other
Yeah.
people and I would like get their insight and I would like talk to them about things. Um and speaking of the Jen part, I think this is a really neat nugget.
Okay.
Elementary school.
Here for it. Here
In
for it.
who I went to school with. He was a little bit older, probably like upper middle school, lower high school, like probably no older than like 12 to 14 years old. He wasn't that much older than me, but he was older than me at the time, being in elementary. And he said to me, if a genie could give you the power of a god, who's more powerful, you as a god or. And then I looked at him and I said, well, isn't that a fallacy anyway? If a genie himself is not a god, how can he grant you more power than himself?
Right.
And, as, wise as that is for a kid, the very fact that that stunned him and he was like, oh man, like that's always how I've been as a kid and
Steep.
going into an adult asking, huh?
Oh, sorry, I just said that's deep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
Absolutely.
mean,
So.
I've been known to hear a word, right?
Mhm.
And this is another silly I was watching back when I was young. I um Dexter, and the character
Mhm.
said, "Oh, you're being facetious." I'm sure I heard the word in power, but I had never had to know what it meant until
Right.
that moment. I was like, okay, well, what does that mean? Like he said in the context of the show, so I looked it up, and because I knew what it meant, do you know what I did?
What's
Started
up?
using it into a sentence.
Hell yeah.
And you see what I'm saying? So that's why I'm good at talking. That's why I've always been energetic about talking. It's because of the fact that I've always been and learning and discovering. I want to share. I've never been selfish with stuff like that. So I want to talk to you about it. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear why I could be
Right.
wrong. I want to hear why you could agree. Like I want to hear all of that. Like
No, for sure. And for me, it's always been like I might have taken a different approach for it. My need to know has always been rooted in the necessity for protection. The more I knew, the smarter I was, the more command over um the narrative, I guess. Um the more ways that I could come at it, the more likely I was to stay out of the eyesight of somebody who wanted to hurt me. Like I
Yeah.
wanted to know everything about you so that I knew how your muscles moved before you even did. Which is a concept I actually used in one of my characters that I created. Actually, he's so good at fighting because he can anticipate the way your muscles move before you fight.
Heck
So
yeah.
he's literally watching your every move and studying you as you're fighting to the point where eventually he just adapts to your every being, and you can't beat him now. He's just gonna
Yeah,
beat you.
like, yeah. Taskmaster style. I feel you.
Yes, yeah, and it's funny. I did not know that that was something that Taskmaster was capable of until like 2016.
Don't worry, I've been there. I like they definitely say no idea is new under the sun for a reason. I
Absolutely,
didn't
for
think
sure.
you stole it or anything. I just
Right.
when you said it, I was like, oh yeah, like Taskmaster, but not in a derogatory way, but in a
No, for
yeah,
sure.
that's really awesome. Like for people who may not know what he's trying to describe, but might know who Taskmaster is, like
Right.
Taskmaster. Like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And like I've always been wanting to be able to do that specifically so that I could come out on top at any point in like my school because I needed to be observational. I needed to know when somebody was going to come at me. I needed
Fair
to
enough.
know that because if I didn't, I was going to get hurt.
Fair.
And I did a lot, like it was pretty brutal. And let me just say my childhood was brutal.
Yeah.
But I developed a way an appreciation for them for the minds of others because in that time I didn't realize it until I got older, but I started to pick up on the reasons that people did things the way that they did them. Like by learning that, little Tommy has a dad at home that doesn't like him or doesn't have a dad at home, he lashes out and decides that he wants to be the dad of the playground, which means beating the shit out of anybody who does something that he doesn't like.
Yeah, absolutely.
And being able to learn that part of him, there's a saying that I personally love that you cannot hate what you understand. If you
I
understand it,
think
you
it
can't hate
also I think it also humanizes,
it.
you know, because it's easy to other and I don't just mean like something like that. I mean just in general, it's easy
Yeah.
to otherize people until they become a part of your quote unquote circle, whatever type of circle you want to say, coworker, social, economical, whatever circle you want to put them in. Until they become part of your circle, they are just an other. They are just an entity outside yourself that to some extent you may even immediately dislike or immediately like, just contingent upon I want them to be in my I don't want them to be in my circle, or I don't even realize they could be in my circle.
Right.
Um, and that's something we carry from babies. Like
Yeah.
as a baby, we have little boxes, as it's been described before psychologically, until we figure out something and sit that scheme
Yeah.
in the box. It doesn't
Yeah.
exist. Like gravity doesn't exist to babies. It's I just do things because I can until you learn, ow, hold on, something pushed me down and I don't see nobody. We got to
Right.
worry about that from now on. Like that's really what it's
Yeah. Yeah.
like.
Yeah. 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 The learning engine of a child. Of a child. Absolutely. So, like, I went into hyperdrive learning and did it all for the need to protect myself from like I had a problem with tones. Like I don't know if you like deal with this or have ever dealt with this, but one of the most common ways that people would like bamboozle me and like get me into a position where like I would look like an idiot or something was like speaking with a different tone. And I've noticed that that's actually like kind of heavy on the autistic spectrum,
Mhm.
where you have a problem recognizing tones in society. And like you can't really grasp sarcasm and stuff like that. I never realized how often until like I was maybe 10 or 11 or 12 even, how like important tone was to like the overall flow of a conversation as well. And once I learned that, it completely rocked my entire like worldview. And I'd say for the detriment, because now like I hear somebody's tone being off even a little bit, even if they're not meaning to, and I'm immediately on the defensive. You know what I mean? Like I'm just immediately triggered.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually have a silly little saying I like to say that words do not have meaning until they are interpreted.
Yeah, that is true.
So the reason that I have come to that conclusion is a little bit of like a silly notion on like in and of itself. The
Hmm.
reason I say that is because yes, words do have definitions. But how many different ways have you heard the word sick used in a sentence? How
Right.
many ways have you heard the term literally been put into a sentence? All of these words had definitions, have definitions.
Hmm.
However, it's the interpretation of those definitions and the word and in the context it's used and the tone is before
Absolutely.
that define the word, even if you never put it down on paper, because people were speaking.
Right. No, absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting. Well, I mean, let's see. No, I got a couple more questions here. But I can already say this has been fucking awesome so far.
Yeah,
And
it's been
I could
phenomenal.
say
I
that.
agree.
All right, I could say that. If you had to pick one style of music, not one artist or anything like that, but one style of music to listen to for the rest of your life, what would it be?
So, and I'm gonna say this with the whole of my heart because it's a cheat answer. Hip hop, absolutely.
Okay.
Now, I know some people may be confused on why I say that's a cheat answer, but as a person who grew up in the culture of hip hop,
Right.
one of the things that you learn when you truly enjoy hip hop to your everything can become hip hop. What I
Right.
mean by that is that you can take a country song, a just genuine 100 country to its core song, flip it, chop it, screw it, and now it's a hip hop song. Totally different song. You can take literally the sound and turn that into a hip hop beat. I think one of the most famous examples of that is the Godzilla roar being put into a hip hop song.
Right.
Like, come on, a perfect individual encapsulation of what I'm saying. Anything can become hip hop. Now, not anything is hip hop, but anything can become hip hop.
Right.
Hip hop is like an alchemic like formula. You can turn anything into the thing can't become hip hop in the sense that like, oh, it was hip hop. No, but you can take that and turn it into hip hop. Absolutely. You see
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
just
that's
switch
why I
up
say
the
it's cheat.
I get you. I get you. I get you. It is a little cheaty, but you know what? I accept it and I respect it. That's the real thing. I accept and respect it.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, I would answer that very differently. Only because as far as hip hop goes, it's one of the things that I don't really like get too deep into, especially nowadays.
Hmm.
I personally don't like the market of it nowadays. But that's only because I grew up on um like genuine jagged, like the old school R&B groups, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And like not even just the slow jams of it, but like Drew Hill, um like that was stuff that I grew up with. And I didn't discover rock until I was about 13 years old.
Hmm.
So like now I would choose like rock. And if I had to listen to like old school hip hop, like Montel Jordan, for example,
Hmm.
then 100% I would take that every day of the week. Because it just gets you hype and puts you in a good mood, you know? The entire
Absolutely.
soundtrack of Save the Last Dance, for Christ's sake.
That was an interesting callback. I wasn't ready for that. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't prepared for those words. But
I'm
I
telling
don't
you, I'm
disagree with
old.
them. I just well, no, I know what you're talking about. It's just either like a disagreement type situation or anything like that. It's more like a, huh, was it like that wasn't the one I like would have immediately picked up on of all the things you would have said. And
No, for
that doesn't make
sure.
it wrong. Just I was, whoa, okay, yeah, okay, all right.
The depths of my musical tastes, I hit the entire board, man. Like
Yeah.
folk music to like the weird folk, the stuff that probably shouldn't be listened to unless you are in live music. You know,
Okay.
like I can hit every part of the spectrum. As long as it
Yeah.
sounds good, I'm going to listen to it.
And I mean, I agree with that. But if we were to narrow it down, the only reason I'd go to hip hop, and including to today, is because
Right.
I'm not just talking about lyrical content. I'm not just talking like hip hop. And again, this is like if you grew up in it, if you were immersed in it, if it was like a part of your community,
Hmm.
it's a culture. It's not just an individual like or b-boys who do dancing. They're a part of hip
Right.
hop. There are people who do mixing and sampling. They're a part of hip hop. There are people who do actual live instruments. They do hip hop. It's a
Right.
culture. It's not just an individual like sound. And it's just like metal. Metal is a culture. Like there's a whole
Yeah.
culture behind metal and what metal has been, what it's become, what
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
be. And I'm just putting respect on metal's name to just compare it to something else.
No, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So
And I
it's
mean,
the same
it
concept in
boils
my
down to the
opinion.
breakdowns of like just subgenres within hip hop. Like hip hop is an
Exactly.
umbrella term. Um,
Exactly.
and it hits the more lyrical rap, the more um uh like harmony artists like Chris Brown, Jason Derulo. It even
Mhm.
hits, some of the deeper stuff where it's just like smooth jazz
Exactly.
early on
Exactly.
was basically point for point the definition of hip hop. It was a bucking of the trend, and it was absolutely incredible at the time. And there are still artists that will like kind of dip into those other things, or like you see um Nelly go into the country space and do very well. You see Post Malone doing the exact same thing, but it's still hip hop,
Exactly. And I mean
and
to
it's
use
incredible.
another example, there are many artists sample Japanese like pop music, not hip hop music, just pop music, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or and it'll be like something like Vocaloid or it'll be something, like an anime song and you just turn that into a hip hop song. Like and I will say this and this is gonna be this thought because I don't want us to go on too far of a tangent. I could talk about hip hop all day. But
I
one
mean,
of
we're
the
out of
last
my
thing.
questions. We're in the free form at this point. We could talk about this for as
Okay.
long as you want, my man.
Well, I want us to get into other things. I don't want us to go too far, but I
For
will
sure.
last thing on hip hop. One of the things for me specifically that will make me always enjoy the culture is the simple fact that there is a soul to it. Just like jazz had soul, just like actual soul and
Yeah.
and all that stuff. There is a particular type of energy that is brought to the table. Does everybody
Right.
get it? No. Does everybody fight it when they perform? No. But the people who get it.
Yeah,
And I
for
will
sure.
always enjoy that stuff. I mean, graffiti, when it comes to dancing, when it comes to all of that individual stuff. I mean, its roots should not lie. And I know that
Yeah.
sounded confusing, but like to take it to a almost biblical level, there are seeds in the rough, but they still grow strong.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That's what I mean.
Absolutely. No, and like I genuinely love that. Like I said, I can listen to anything, and that is a fantastic answer. Honestly, it was one that um the more I hear about people talk about their respect to hip hop, the more I understand it as an outlier, considering it's not one of the ones I go to. But when I look back on it, like the more people explain to me, the more I'm like, oh, I guess I was a part of that life for a while. Okay,
Yeah,
you know, like it's just it's reintroducing me to an older side of me, I guess, because
yeah,
now I'm full rockabilly almost. Like, if I looked at my like I have a another little tangent here. I have a playlist that I play only when I'm doing chores. It is the stuff that makes me move, it makes me happy, and it puts me in a mood to be able to do more of the thing that I hate the most, which is cleaning, right?
Yeah.
When I look through this whole thing, it is like pound for pound, like early 2000s to like late 90s alternative rock scene, right? There's some Linkin Park in there. There's some newer stuff like Volbeat and like, but then there's also like Alanis Morissette from back in the day. You know what I mean? Like it spans a good spot, but it's all alternative rock.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the one stuff that I can go back to, and I will know for certain if I had to listen to it for the rest of my life, I'd be in good company.
Yeah.
I just would be.
I want to say, like, even me definitely have liked and grew up on rock. I mean,
Yeah.
for anime heads not liking rock, it would be a surprise to me only because for a long time, well, depending on your age, I'm sure, but
All
for
your anime
ancient,
intros are rock. All of them.
I wasn't even gonna just say that. I was actually gonna take it onto the fandom level
Okay.
and remind everybody of the old school AMVs that used to exist back in the day. And I ain't just talking park. They're the like go-to easy, safe answer. But I mean, some of the like versatile different sounds I've heard from multiple different anime
Yeah.
AMVs, like like I discovered songs that I'd never until the AMV came along. So
No, for sure.
again, Linkin Park's the safe answer because like they had their own AMVs, and then eventually like people were like, yeah, they just go with anime, and that's great. Aside of them,
Right.
there were so many rock music and rock songs. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely put respect on Rock's name, and I definitely have enjoyed rock music, and to this day I do to an extent. But like you, kind of settled into your niche of rock music.
Yeah.
I've kind of like settled into my niche of hip hop and electronic music.
Right.
And now I will definitely still bump some rock music, and there are other musics I'll listen to, but the main one will almost end up back. Like somehow we'll always.
Yeah.
I know you've been on Spotify or you've been on Pandora or YouTube, and
Yep.
like you get to the end of your playlist and it goes and tries to recommend you something, and you're like, here,
No,
it knows
I'm gonna
me.
listen to I'm gonna listen to my old playlist again, but I
Yeah.
like what they're putting down.
Exactly. So it
It's
just
really
it
what it
is
boils
what it
down to. It's
is.
just I like what it's putting down, and like I have run the gambit as far as music is concerned, and I appreciate my older sister and my mom both telling me multiple times to just listen to everything and get over yourself, and I did. And I'm now probably one of the most eclectic people I know, and I'm not just saying that to brag. I'm dead ass probably the most strange aux cord user ever. I'm gonna put you in some of the hardest rock you've ever heard from a band you've never heard of, and then in the very same breath, I'm gonna put Backstreet Boys on right after. It's gonna happen.
I feel you.
Or like, a lot of people don't know this, and I don't use the term guilty pleasures anymore because I have finally gotten to a point where I just don't give a shit. There is no such thing as a guilty pleasure. If I like it, I like it. But back in the day, I could have gotten murdered at my school for having the Hillary Duff CD,
Oh man, I got you.
like her first CD that she ever came out with. I went to Barnes and Noble and bought that with my allowance, and I listened to it every day
Respect. I can't
in
be
my
mad at you
room.
for that. Yeah, and the
Never told
protection of my own
anyone.
home, but I did it. No, I feel you though.
Never told anybody until I got, comfortable. But, you know, that was the stuff I was listening to. Like I would steal my sister's CDs because I didn't have any. And
Yeah.
she listened to boy bands. So I listened to boy bands. I okay, I'm gonna tell a story. It's a very small one.
Okay.
And it might give you some insight into the exact person that I am. The one time I decided to be completely secure in asking for something for Christmas, I was at my dad's Christmas, and my sister did not want me to have her Boys to Men CD anymore. She would not let me listen to it anymore. So I asked my dad if he would get me a Boys to Men Legacy CD, the greatest hits. I have never in my life thought that a parental figure could be so cruel. Because the word that came out of his mouth was "boys to F word." Straight to my face in
Ah,
front of my entire family.
yeah, that's we don't
Yeah,
like that. We don't like that.
I still got the CD. I got into his face about it. I still got the CD. But that was one of the only times that I can think of where the other times were just like rejection sensitivity from being ADD. Like I didn't want to tell anybody for fear of what they would do. That was one of
Been
the only
there.
times that ever like was the worst case scenario. And it wasn't even that bad. I mean, obviously it's pretty damaging, but I was 14 at the time. He was a deadbeat. I don't have to worry about his opinion. I still got what I wanted. No harm, no foul. I'll never let it go, but like ultimately that was like the worst case scenario for me. And it happened. I lived, I moved on, and I still will be like in karaoke, and if a Boys to Men song comes on, I'm getting on stage and I'm going to sing, and it's gonna sound like I've been singing these guys my whole life because I have been. You know what I mean? It is one of the only times that like galvanized my likes and dislikes, which could have gone wrong, and I could have given it up right then and there, but I didn't. You know, and
Yeah,
it's just it was such a. I still love Boyz II Men. Like there was nothing that could have stopped me from liking it, and I wish I would have learned that sooner. You know what I mean? Like it didn't
yeah,
matter. I would have been. I might have gotten some different kind of friends by walking around playing Hillary Duff as loud as I possibly could. I might have gotten some different types of friends, but the reality of it is, I remember being so worried that that would happen, and then it did, and I never worried about it again. I guess the biggest takeaway I could say is if you ever feel put down for liking something, give them the middle finger and walk away. Because at the end of the day, they don't know why you like it. They don't think you should. And that right there is more than enough reason to continue listening. Fuck them.
absolutely. I mean, it goes back to what I was saying earlier about the choice situation. Like, it
Right.
really does come down to that internalized choice. Now, granted, I'm not saying it's an easy choice. That
No.
would be a ridiculous thing to say.
No. It's
But
definitely not
also,
easy.
it does go back to just sometimes you have to make that, conservative effort. Sometimes you have to be, put because I mean, and I've told this to people before, it is going to be nigh impossible for people to respect you if you do
Yeah.
not respect yourself.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Hell yeah. So interesting that you bring up choices, because another one of my favorite loves is movies. And before I give you the context of exactly what the hell I'm talking about, what's your favorite movie,
Okay,
man? What's your
you're
favorite
gonna
movie?
hate me.
Please.
Favorite movie?
Could never hurt. Could never hate you.
Well, yeah, but
I love you too
I don't
much.
have one. I mean, I love you too, and I love you too, Jude. But everybody
I'm
here, of
fucking
course.
leaving. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, please.
But no, for real. I don't actually have um favorite movie individually. I
Okay.
love lots of different movies. There's never been a single movie I could think to that was like, okay, this is the movie. If I have to like go back to this movie infinitely, this is the only one I'd be willing to watch infinitely.
Sure.
There's nothing like that, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Okay. Mine's Princess Bride. If anybody's wondering,
It's a good movie.
Oh,
it's a great movie.
yes.
Yeah.
The TikToks that are coming out right now of a bunch of actors that I recognize redoing the movie in the worst potato quality ever is my life right now. So good. But the reason I bring up movies is another one of my favorite movies that I watched religiously growing up was Dangerous Minds with Michelle Pfeiffer. Her entire story arc of that entire movie was based around choice. It doesn't matter how good the choice is, you still have a choice. You can get on that bus and come to school, or you can choose not to get on the bus and end your life. Like, that was a great movie, and it had a great message. That was my only takeaway from that movie. I honestly did not even remember the plot until I was like 15.
Been there.
But
Been
the
there
takeaway
before.
was always about choice, and like you make the excellent point, like our life is full of choices, and we have like even being happy is a choice,
Yeah.
and it's a hard choice to make, especially when you've got anxiety or depression or some darker thoughts, or like BPD, and the litany of mental illnesses that get in the way of you being happy. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, happiness is not something that you can strive for. It's something that you choose to wake up with every day. And for some, it's a really hard decision to make. But
Yeah.
it is a decision that can be made. You can make the best of your own situation, or go out and change the things that you can change and learn to accept the ones that you can't. But no, this is this is a damn good conversation. It's deep.
Yeah,
Get me
absolutely.
get me all in the fields here. Hey Jupe, do you have a question for our resident Jin?
I can't think of anything. I think you covered everything I thought of.
See
Well,
that?
I can bring back up earlier because we never got back to this.
Yeah, you know
Um
what? Go ahead. Floor is yours.
so,
Educate them.
going back to the beginning of the
Hmm.
difference between a genie and a djinn. So the very first thing is genie to Disney's belief.
Okay.
Uh, European construct. So it actually comes from European lore. Now
Hmm.
there will be people who say that they're used interchangeably. But the difference is real, and there are differences, major differences between a genie and a djinn. Uh, Now, one of the things is that, like I said, genies come from European,
Right.
jinns come from Middle Eastern and African, and the culture of more
Yeah.
brown folk, let's say,
Yeah. Early Hebrew and Sikh, if I remember.
and things of that area.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's and that's not to say that that individually makes them completely different, but it is a start to show that they are different. The
Right.
next thing
Because
that
they
makes
have their
them
own thought processes on like the characteristics and um what necessitates the call of a jinn versus a genie.
a- and then even to take it a step further now that we've gotten like the surface level out of the way,
Hmm.
genies are beings of wishes and they teach lessons more or less in folklore, stuff like that. And I have found the easiest way to explain what a genie is, what it does, and why it does it is that it is magic that has gained sentience and only has the understanding of humanity, at least, and the way that humanity interacts of a child.
Right.
That's why you can ask a genie, can you make me a sandwich? And he turns you into a sandwich because he literally heard you say, me
Make
a
me a
sandwich.
sandwich.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's that lack of understanding, that lack of awareness that makes a genie the way it is. Not always cruelty. I'm sure there are some that are cruel. I'm sure there's some that are. The general aspect is not just to be like, wow, person who's asking me for wishes, let's just be mean. Like, I don't
Right.
think that's a fair assessment of what genies are like.
Well, I mean,
Now,
mischief isn't always the wrong thing. You know,
You're
it's a
right.
gag, it's a jest, it's a joke, and you know, some of them just happen to come along with some hospital bills. You know, but at the end of the day, mischief is simply that. It's just minor discord, minor
Exactly.
chaos.
And
Big fan, by
so
big fan, by the way.
um I'm not coming for genies. I do want to be clear. This is not a negative towards genies as a concept or anything like that, but I just wanted to say I do feel like
Right,
there is more to them than to borrow from Transformers meets the eye, you know. And as far as Jin, we Jin are, well, we were at one point even considered gods to humanity. So there is a difference in our culture. Like some of us have been considered angels, some of us have been considered spirits, some of us have been considered devils. Um like all of the things just mentioned, we are our own forms. Not
right,
only do we have our own culture and our principles, but there are beings who are powerful enough to judge us. You know what I'm saying? So
right,
it it isn't as simple as, you know, and as much to do it. It's not as simple as categorizing us as just a name or lump us into a species or something like that. We
right.
are a community, we're a culture, we have our own values, and individuals and all of the same things humanity can do. We extra spice with the powers, you know.
Absolutely.
So I think that's another key difference between a djinn and a genie as well. Also, I'm not trapped in a bottle. I don't know why genies have that going on. Got to be honest with you, Jinn ain't got that.
I
We come
think it's
from a different
commentary
dimension.
on like indentured servitude and you know
Probably.
bucking against the form of like, oh well, my master tells me to do something, but I don't like my master, so I'm gonna treat them like garbage and make their wish the worst wish they ever wanted, like the monkey paw theory.
Yeah, and that would make some sense too, because trust me, we Jinn are not capacity, okay? We
Yeah.
have just as much ability to not only control ourselves, but you know, if we get a little, we can control other people too. So let's be honest here, we ain't no slaves to nobody, but you know, yeah, that'll cause problems. So it's not something that's common, but it is
Right.
possible. So let's put our foot down here. We ain't slaves in any capacity. Never
Yeah,
have
I
been.
do what I want. It's my desire to help you.
Exactly. I mean, similar to devils, we can make deals for power and for magic, and uh, what some may consider blessings and others may, you know, we can make deals and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we are not bound to anything individually that you could, you know, control us with, and we don't have to do anything. Like, you can wish whatever you want, but I mean, okay. um So yeah, it really is. There's a very clear and definitive line between the two.
Right.
And I always just like to remind, not because I get insensitive about it or anything like that, but
Right.
because I believe knowing there's a difference it's supremely helpful. I mean, do you want to disrespect it, Jen? I being honest, like I wouldn't want to do that, but
No, no,
me.
no. I have a healthy respect for the things beyond the veil that I may or may not understand. There
Exactly.
is a healthy respect where I'm gonna do me, y'all do y'all, and at the end of the day, the world's gonna keep spinning as long as we allow it to.
Absolutely.
And the best way to
Absolutely. And
do
I
that
feel the
is to
same.
stay the hell out of each other's way. Like you go your way, I'll go my way. You want to know about my way? Sure, I'll take you along a tour. But if you don't want to know, I still love you. I still dig you. At the end of the day, I'm not here to hurt you.
Exactly. I agree 100%. I think one of the problems that ends up arising between humanity and Jinn as their own cultures, and there is a slight disconnect because we come from different realms between us. Like, obviously, humanity doesn't live alongside Jinn normally. So,
Right.
you know, whatever the last person saw and has rumors about is what Jinn are to
Right.
humanity. And for Jin, realistically, I mean, we don't want to be hated, but at the same time, it starts to, great. Being bullied is not a nice thing,
No, most definitely not.
So, sometimes you get a little itchy. Might do a
Mm-hmm.
little couple of problems for people because you feel like you're getting attacked for no reason, but
Right.
it's cycle, and I feel like because we're separated
Mm-hmm.
in a not just social a level, but in a cultural level, that it makes it hard for us to kind of respect each other's differences. Um, and the reason a little Jen, I played with people. We have our own games. We, grow and we, practice our powers. Like we don't just come out the womb, black. We got to practice and get better and find our niches and find. And this is something I learned from my time with mortals is that there are things that you can do and there are things that empower you. It's a part of our culture as Jin to be empowered by things. But
Right.
I feel like there is a lack of outward vocal empowerment amongst humanity. It's that lack of pronunciation of that, like of
Right.
saying out loud, hey, depending on me makes me feel empowered. Or, hey, me being able to jog for a really long time and just do that every day empowers me, or this or that empowers me. Not getting to vocalize that, not being able to pronounce that out loud with your whole soul is what weakens humanity. And I feel
Right.
like there are so many things that humanity can do that they just hold themselves back from because they won't allow themselves to be empowered like we Jin
Right.
do.
Right. No, I completely understand. Well,
So
if you
yeah.
guys want to hear more from the Papa himself, he's got a wonderful Twitch channel that's got 325 followers. We love Papa Jin very, very much. And genuinely from the bottom of my heart, brother, thank you for taking the time out of your day to just sit around and bullshit with us, man. Like, um, my vision for this whole thing is now that it's happening is I'm gonna hit everybody, but you were one of the ones that I was like super, super excited to get. So
I
from the bottom
appreciate
of my
that
heart,
so
thank
much.
you.
Like I was stoked to do this. I won't even sit here try to like, play it cool or stoic or anything. I was excited to do this because I mean I like talking regardless,
No, for
but
sure.
putting our like making it so that there's more content for Sci Hope also.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
being a part of that also was what amped me too. And being able to talk to you guys. I mean, I remember the first time, and I just got to get this in since you brought it up. I remember the very first I hope that you and I talked together. We had never spoken before. And you'd
Never.
think we would have because of the way we were able to bounce off each other and we're able to
Absolutely.
interview and stuff like that. Just the type of people we are in our spirit. And that makes things like this exciting.
Yes. It was for those of you who haven't seen it yet or are a little late on the draw or completely forgot about Sci Hope because that was 2 years ago and you ain't got time for it. My first time meeting Papa Jin was the day of being on commentary together for Bloodborne, and it it's as Jin says, it was automatic. It was like we have known each other our entire lives, just on how easy it was. And obviously, there are that there is the fact that we have not known each other, but that didn't matter. And nobody that I can think of right off the top of my head has it not mattered more or shown that it mattered less than with Papa Jen. So thank you, man, for being here. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. And Jupe, I just want to say for you as well, like, I do feel like you're a more low key person. Never, ever felt like you were anything less than genuine or positive or helpful. And I don't even want to use the word helpful because that feels like a job description. I feel like more charitable in your willingness to be around people and those people. I don't think that I've ever felt anything less than that energy from you. And I always wanted to, give pat you on the back for that.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
There is a reason that I chose Commander Jupe as a second for these things because as much as my ability to talk and bullshit rivals even the biggest of the crazy announcer guys, I would be nothing without an organizer. She does all the editing, and is just genuinely a go-getter, and I'm absolutely impressed by the choice that I made.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely, I agree.
I love doing this.
I do too, and it's I knew I would on some level, but I did not realize how much. Like this, the most selfish answer I can say is it gives me 2 hours to myself doing what I love to do.
Yeah,
Uh, that's just the selfish side of it. Um, but it's important, and I can sell the importance of this because all you new people that come through and are like listening to these things and you're wondering who the hell are these people. This is your way to learn. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you could talk to each and every one of us individually and we will talk back. That's what the Discord is there for. But if you want to really understand just who you are standing behind, that's what this is for. And we're 3 in, and I haven't heard the second one yet, but I'm pretty sure it's 3 for 3. And it's gonna hit the entire damn team, and everybody else new that comes in. I'm gonna be doing this to the day I die, because we're open borders here,
Yeah.
and I I can't imagine doing anything else. Well, thank you, man, dude.
I appreciate being a part of this and a part of the team. So I just wanted to throw that in there at the
Brother, we
end
love
there.
you. We absolutely love you. And I know I speak for everybody on the team, bro. You are a pin, a linchpin, godsend.
I appreciate it so much. You have no idea.
Do you have any questions for me?
Um, see, let me think. Okay, all right. I do have one question.
Oh, it's gonna be a good
All right.
one.
So,
Yeah.
if you tomorrow had someone walk up to you and like, "Listen, this is your dream job. I will make it happen." What would it be?
Dream job.
Like you could just do anything. Like they say, you tell me one job you want to do, and I will make it happen. It doesn't matter, how silly or how goofy or how passionate or how much money it would cost. Whatever it is, you can do that job for the rest of your life. What would it be?
It's not what I would be. The dream is not near as important, only because no matter how much I like something, I can really only do a thing as long as I am passionate about it.
Fair enough.
And I can't think of a single thing that I am passionate enough about that I wouldn't go months or even years without doing at any given time. Except if there was a way for me to be paid to be a full-time father.
Fair. I ain't mad at that.
Mm-hmm.
I am not. I am in no position to be at any given time. Like, I am perpetually forever single. It has become by choice. But if I could get paid to mold the mind of a child, that is mine, and right all the mistakes that my dad made, and truly break the legacy that he put on me, I would do that.
Always here for breaking generational curses, so I'm
Yeah.
definitely down for that.
I am either my line ends with me or it changes through me. But as far as I'm concerned, uh, I'm doing everything I can to get rid of the stink on my last name, you know?
Yeah.
Not that there is one that big. Like, I'm not talking like I got mob bosses or anything.
Yeah, yeah, I got you.
Like, I'm not saying mob bosses or like, you know, I don't have any Hitlers in my family that I'm aware of. What I have is a very hyper specific pattern of neglect. And the last thing my kid would ever feel is neglect. Don't mean
I
to make it
respect
hella
that.
sad, but
No,
like,
I respect it though. I respect it 100%. I respect it.
yeah, and that would be really the only thing that I would want out of my life, is to know that when my kid turns 18 and is out there doing it and believing that their dreams are possible, thinking that I had even the slightest hand in making that a reality, I could die happy. I could literally die that day and be okay. And maybe having a talking job.
I mean, is it being a parent half talking? It's not exclusively, but like half the time. That was a good answer, I think. Try answering as well if you'd like. I mean,
No,
it's not
absolutely, please,
mandatory.
please.
It would totally be similar. It'd be taking care of my family. Like, I just
Mhm.
want to live my life, feed my family,
Yeah,
do everything that he's doing around the house, occasionally doing the things that I enjoy doing, like, streaming, creative endeavors, that sort of thing. But I don't really want.
like having time for a hobby.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I just want to take
Yeah,
care of my family and not be beholden to some office junk or something.
yeah.
I am among friends because everything that was just said, I'm among.
Right?
Not one argument for me. Probably one of the biggest anti-capitalists, maybe not like physically out here doing anything dangerous about it, but like
Right.
the concept of someone, I don't like X, and I'm like, now let me tell you why it's capitalism's problem.
Yeah. Don't get me talking about capitalism. We'll never go home.
I mean,
Exactly.
I'll just-
honestly, I'm gonna buck this trend a little bit. I think capitalism's all that wrong when it's applied correctly.
That's the problem,
Ba-
though. What
A lot of
actually
the
gets
time, it's not.
what actually in this world gets applied correctly?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, that's the whole human experience as a
Yeah.
whole. We're never gonna get it right,
Mm-mm.
ever. That's the whole problem with humans as a whole. We're never going to get it right, but we can get close.
Yeah.
We
I will
try.
say
Can
this.
get close.
I will say this. I do not think that offering services for personal gain is a problem.
No.
Okay. I do need to use those words specifically because I do think they're functionally different from what we practice as capitalism.
Right.
The reason I say that is because when you use the words I used, that is a choice you're making.
Yeah.
When you are born into capitalism, you are already in debt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Work. That is not a debate. Once you are at a point where you are no longer being sheltered by your parents or the government because you're underage, immediately seek gainful employment.
Yeah.
And
You're
whatever
built to
gainful
work.
employment you can get, that is not the same thing.
Right.
That's why I say that.
No, for
Yeah.
sure. A very amazing and famous dead guy once said, "If you're good at something, never do it for free."
Yeah.
Sorry, it's one of my favorite
Yeah.
actors. Heath Ledger is just incredible.
But I
Are we?
will say,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I personally think that like that last question for me is like a good place to wrap it up, especially
No, for
because I
sure.
got to throw some anti-capitalism in there. So I think that's my mic drop moment personally. I don't know about y'all, but I just think that's my mic drop moment. I don't think there's much more I can do to really,
Absolutely.
to put the pin there, like put the last period. I don't think there's much more I can do. I think that was the mic
Look,
drop.
Papa Jin loves hip hop, is a homie to you and me, and hates capitalism. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, exactly,
Good night.
exactly that.